right. Welcome back, everybody.
E-
So yeah, as you all enter into the headquarters, Frederic looks up and sees you with Timothy, and he's like, "Oh, Doctor, you've returned. One moment." He goes over to above the fire, kind of goes to a ledge and gets a box, blows it off. A whole bunch of dust comes up, and he opens it up. And he grabs this little leather case and grabs himself a cigar, one of the cigars you had stored here, and comes over to you. We've never had a chance to get this to you. And hands you your order badge and a cigar. It is so good to see you. Please come over. He pulls a chair over to the table.
Yes, I've been dealing with a bit of an outbreak. Seems that a body of water has suddenly appeared south of the slums and appears to be causing no end of issues in the west slums.
Yeah. It's there
Frederick,
now.
he kind of, yes, well, perhaps when they don't have that much time, they can explain to you what that all is. I have all the notes for this case. I'm not sure what they have told you of so far, but if you need any information about what is currently going on, or what's been going on the past few months, feel free to come and chat with me. I'm gonna go back over there. I'll let you all do what you all need to do. He goes over, gets into his chair, pulls out his notepad, and kind of just sits there, prepares to write. Timothy, you can see Mike is sitting over, drink in hand. He has a bandage wrapped around his leg that's pretty soiled with blood. His face has some like cuts on it. It looks like his arm has a few cuts that have started to scab over.
All right, Mike, let's see what we've got.
As soon as this new guy, Timothy, starts checking him out for his wounds and, like, not paying attention to me, that's when I'm going to drop my disguise.
Okay. So, Timothy, as you go in to start checking over Mike, you notice that there's something different. You are one of the few, or actually I think you're the only, that now is still on a legendary status, having 3 mythos and 1 logos, which means you're able to see through the mist a bit clearer. Mike is slower than he was. That little tremor you used to see in him that just showed how he was always kind of vibrating to go faster, it's not there anymore. He is appearing as a normal kind of person. His metabolism seems to have slowed a little bit. His heart rate seems to have slowed, but he's definitely changed.
Well, these changes are not from your injury. At least not the current one.
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm the doctor. I'll be the judge of that.
It just needs some leeches, Doc.
No. Leeches clean blood, plus they're not as useful as you would think.
Well, I mean, look at the blood, and I point to his leg.
Yes, if he loses any more, he might stop living.
I'll get the leeches.
Do you have leeches? Because I don't have leeches.
Where do you think we're at, Doc? I could probably find some outside.
No, this is a garbage disposal area.
Yeah, but there's still water about.
You don't understand living organisms, do you?
I teach history. I'm gonna take a drink of my whiskey.
I'm going to examine Mike.
Sounds like a plan. I'm gonna have you change the game to see again how many statuses you're able to affect. As a doctor, you can definitely notice the wounds on his leg and kind of the superficial wounds on his face and arms. You also notice that his shoulder has scarring, kind of looks like a gunshot wound that's there, and his stomach has a bit of bruising on it as well.
and change the game.
Correct. Yep. That'll see how.
I'm going to use physician, injury, disease, hurts, and physical weakness because I'm kind of interested as to what has happened to him.
Okay.
Hey.
So, Mike, I'll leave this up to you. As he examines you, he's able to see through just the exterior wounds. He's able to kind of reach to you to a metaphysical kind of level. What does he see as he looks kind of to you on your being?
He'll definitely notice the moment where the change happened in the movement, because there is just a huge amount of basically like picture in picture of this dark scene of very gruesome murders, and then it just like an abrupt stop to it. And then a nice serene lake.
Yes. Oh, well. That's always interesting. So, it was the lot of you who caused the lake. I was wondering if that had happened.
Oh, yeah, Crosshand. Blame the new kid. Where is he? Is he not here? He must be out practicing his music or something.
Well.
So with...
Well.
Go ahead.
Well, Mike, you'll live through this one. I mean, you've got a bit of bumping and a bit of bruising, but whoever got this leg patched up did a not too horrible job.
I'm a doctor and a history teacher. And I didn't even need the leeches.
I'll be back.
And I can fly.
I'm sure you can. If
I can
thrown
still
hard
do
enough.
that.
I can jump.
So with that, Mike, you can go ahead and remove the cut status and drop the bumps and bruises down to soreness. Just a 2 sore status.
The bruises one I had it 2 already.
I think, do you still have gunshot on there? Without what statuses do you
No.
currently have?
I had a 2 for the bruises and a 2 for the bleed.
Okay, well
after
go ahead
being
and mark it
patched up.
down to a tier 1 soreness then.
Okay.
So Timothy, as you finish kind of, cleansing the wounds, wrapping the bandages, you kind of turn to take a seat. Who does he see seated next to him at the table now, Calvin?
Sorry, one second, just 1 second here.
No problem.
Oh, yes, so Timothy, this is Dominic. This young boy was friends with Hans, the boy we're trying to find.
He's just kind of sitting there, just staring at the table, kind of, again, you can tell he's trying to figure out something. His fingers kind of tracing the table a little bit. He looks up and just kind of does one of those and back down.
All of his involvement appears to be happenstance, if you believe him.
Okay,
And
sorry,
I
I'm
tend to
back.
No worries. So I was just saying, as Timothy sits down, who does he see now seated at the table? No longer a dock
Okay.
worker.
Now he sees a very, very dark-skinned black man, but with like very white pearly teeth. Has a large grin to him, in a extravagant, finely cut, expensive suit. The cane that he held, it still has the same ivory skull topping it, but is now like a shiny, like piano black finish onto the cane. And he doesn't wear a hat or anything at the moment, but he's just very, very well put together and very, very well groomed in pretty much every way.
Gotcha.
It seems like Dominic kind of looked up, had seen two people come in, looked down, and to him it seems like one person left and now another person has come in their place. A dock worker has left and, a businessman has come in instead. Kind of just looks confused, and again, you can tell he's dealing with something, thinking heavily on his own mind.
I'm gonna slide him another drink.
Kind of just look. So what are you all gonna do with me?
Well, why is he here? Other than get me up to speed.
Well, we went to investigate Hans. That led us all around the city. That's a whole adventure. Mike can tell you about that when he gets to feeling better. But we ended up in an alleyway, talked to some homeless. One of them shot Mike. We found a locket. We tracked it down to this house in the slums. Well, not so much the slums.
At this point, Timothy just holds his finger up to William. He looks right at Calvin, and he goes, "You tell me what happens."
Well, apparently we have been in task to find a certain individual. His name is Hans Bexley. I'm not sure if you are privy to this or not so far.
Well, I am a member of the order, so
Yeah.
I am unable to. I have not been here recently, but yes, I'm assuming since I'm here now that I'm supposed to assist.
Well, Mr. Bexley seemed to have been embroiled in a certain amount of drug going-ons and dealings, and this young lad seemed to be one of the people that he was connected with for his product. Mr. Dominic something or other, I don't really know. What seemed to be his primary contact, as far as we can tell. Mr. Bexley was doing some sort of deal or something. We had to achieve $20,000 worth of whatever he could. We're in the park, where, according to our investigations, was the last time he'd really been seen, as a certain man by the name of Shin Lem left by himself, where two others left via a boat with, we do believe, Mr. Bexley inside of it towards the industrial district. We did find a bag. I believe, William, you have the bag?
I'll throw the bag on the table.
He throws out a small coin sack, kind of dark brown leather, and on the outside is an emblem of Mathera Industries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was in the river. I retrieved it. I don't even know if it's connected, but it was there, so I pulled it out and kept it.
Mm-hmm.
You are pretty much all caught up at that point.
So, now, here's a question. Who were the gentlemen earlier today that you... Well, you managed to stop them from moving forward after their little cart accident with fruit.
Well, see, Mike, he did the thing. Yeah.
Wait, Calvin killed somebody again?
Yeah,
I did
it
not,
happens.
and you are one to talk. I do remember a headless, homeless man. But
Oh, yes, they've left blood and bodies everywhere that I've been with them, unfortunately. It's horrible.
well, yes, those two individuals were dressed and on similar mounts that Mr. Shin Lem, sorry, had been utilizing. Seeing as we were attempting to get Dominic to safety for our own questioning purposes, I deemed it necessary to slow them down. Although I did not want anyone hurt, so I did manage to help to facilitate the recovery of one of the individuals.
But you're not a doctor.
I am a doctor of sorts, but maybe not the type that you're familiar with.
Those are questions better left for later. So they were connected. Well, that would explain these items, and at that point I will pull out the pipe and the purple opium and put them on the table.
Dominic kind of looks up at it. Just you see a face of recognition, and then kind of back to just tracing the table.
So, Dominic, what can you tell me about this?
It looks like the boss has everybody else hooked on his stuff. That'd be my guess.
And is this what Hans was planning on moving?
I mean, it's just like I just told them. Yeah, Hans was addicted to this stuff. He loved it. He was smoking his frickin' brain out on it. Wanted a big supply of it, and the boss was gonna make it happen for him.
Interesting. Well, the gentleman who you stopped earlier today, Calvin, he also happened to be, these items came off of his person. I believe he is also addicted to this particular substance, which at first glance appears to be opium, but is unlike any opium I, as a doctor, have ever run into.
Well, it makes sense to get one's subordinates addicted to it as well. I've never had to do that myself, but as I have other means. But I imagine it's his main controlling factor, since he's Mr. Shin Lem seems to be the only source of whatever this purple stuff is.
Yes, well, whatever this purple stuff is, it is strong enough that it was able to affect me, as you noticed, through my simple examination of the gentleman at hand. I'm not exactly accustomed to that being the case.
Through this conversation, I will be drinking fairly heavily. There's usually some rum nearby.
Oh yeah.
But you will notice an odd, dark powdery substance sort of mixed into the rum that doesn't seem to fully dissolve.
I'm gonna sit up in my chair and give Dominic not a hard kick, but just kind of a sit up and pay attention. And I'm gonna point towards the bag with the logo. What do you know about that?
Yeah, I've seen bags like that before at the house. Back in the boss's office, he had a few of them mixed up with a whole bunch of other stuff, and like a telegram and lots of papers. Not sure. I've never heard of it though. I don't spend a lot of time in the industrial district myself.
Perhaps a processing or moving facility. Well, Mr. Dominic, is there anything else you can tell of the operation? How expensive it is, perhaps?
I mean, I know he has a few other dealers around. I've seen some other kids, you know, about my age, coming in, getting some and heading out. He only seems to travel with 3 or 4 folks. The only time I've ever seen him, and I mean, for the most part, if he's not there, that house is virtually unprotected. The 2 guys that hang out there, they're too busy smoking the stuff to really pay all that much attention. I guess you guys just got a bit unlucky showing up when I was there.
I like targets that are unprotected.
I know he spends a lot of time away from that house, though. That's not where he does business there. That's all he uses it for. That's all I.
Well, he did show up immediately after you escaped. Looks like he was coming to possibly have words with you.
He just kind of nods, like, yeah, probably. I haven't been making my quotas recently. Without Hans, there's not too many other people that buy as much as he was buying. I just wasn't making as much as I needed.
Well, I dare say I don't think there's much else you can tell us. You seem to have been a much smaller pawn in this than we had originally thought. You are part of a relatively well-to-do family. Are
I
you
used to
not?
be.
Well, you from what I understand, lived in a nicer area. It might be do well to at least go home and lay low for a while while we deal with.
They know where I live. They're gonna go there first.
I
They
see.
My family's not safe. Not with me gone. I don't know what to do.
Well, how are you at cleaning?
He looks confused. What do you mean?
Washing up, dusting.
I mean, we always had, our maids to do that, but I guess I could probably clean a dish if I had to. What does that have to do with this?
Well, I've been a bit busy lately. Could use an orderly. It would keep you off the streets, would keep you in a place that they don't know where you're at, and as long as you weren't stupid and go out on the streets, you would be relatively safe without exposing yourself or harming others. Plus,
And
we'd know where you were.
What about when they blackmail him with the safety of his family?
Well, hopefully by the time that comes around to it, we'll have already handled this little problem.
Kind of sits there and he thinks, if you can find a way to deal with the boss, get him to forget about me, get him to forget about my family, I'd do whatever I need to repay the debt. I just need my family to be safe. My mom's not going to make it if she gets kicked from her house.
Let me see. Well, aside from faking your death, I do believe that is probably the best place for you to go then.
Is it only your mother?
No, I got an older brother and sister, but they're too lazy and incompetent to do anything for the family either. It's just me out here busting my ass to just be able to pay the bills, keep the tax collectors at bay. My dad not here. We're not getting anything from his frickin' mills. They cut us off. It's only a matter of time till they kick us out.
Maybe a bit of poverty might be good for your family.
My family, you seem to be well-to-do, sir, and I don't know. My family, they don't know what is outside those walls. That's all they know. They know the wealthy, the rich. They don't know what it's like to work. They don't know what it's like to survive. They've never had to experience that.
Hitting rock bottom and not even having a pair of shoes to my name made me wealthier than I ever imagined. Might be good.
I'm afraid rock bottom for my mom might literally be rock bottom of that damn river.
Well, one less wasteful piece of flesh for the city then.
Yeah, with that, he hits the table hard and stands up. What'd you say?
Did I stutter?
He reaches into his pocket briefly, and you see him kind of messing with something. He pulls out a bit of brass knuckles, and he stands there and hits the table hard. Boom! Leaving a dent in it. You don't talk about my family, stranger. I don't care where I am. I will not sit here and let someone know. You will not
That's
talk.
my favorite table.
His fist is still firmly in it.
Kid, this is mahogany.
Obvious. I have no issues with your mother. I neither like her nor dislike her. I nothing her. All we want to do at the moment is keep you and her safe and out of the way because apparently reason.
Because she's a waste of flesh?
Well, prove me wrong then, if you don't like what I say. When hearing negative things, instead of falling prey to it, use it as a point to launch off. Prove me wrong, boy.
What are you trying to push him to do?
He seems scared right now, and I'm thinking if I can get him protective and invigorated, that it might overcome the fear a little bit, and he might feel a little more inspired and like want to push forward through this instead of just being terrified and wanting to, give up.
That sounds like a convince roll to me.
Okie dokie. Let me reset first. So I'm gonna do I am charming. Say con. So I'm manipulating him, and let's do tricks of the mind as I sort of fumble around with his emotions a little.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a convince?
Correct. Perfect. So yeah, that's
Hey.
tier 3, like fight the power. What status? What kind of status do you want to give him?
Yeah, that sounds good. Sure.
I'm gonna brush his hand off the table and start feeling the divots that he made.
They're not that deep. You can tell he's not that strong. He definitely doesn't have the hit of like someone with a rift or anything like this. I mean, it's
mahogany.
It is like there's definitely 4 ringed dents in the dark wood.
I'm gonna get a rag and start buffing it.
He looks
Come on.
deeply at you, and he kind of sees someone talking to him in a way no one has before. All right, yeah, nah. I will. I damn it, I will. My family's coming out of this. We are coming out of this. I am going to lead us. All right. He takes the knuckles, puts them back in. What do you need me to do?
So the boy becomes a man. This is good. I don't think there's much you can do at the moment, except to stay strong. And then if we have any plans that need someone with connections in this world, I imagine we could call upon you.
All right. Where are you guys going next? Are you going back to the house?
I don't think there's much at the house there for us. It's up to you guys. As once again, I am just following along, but I would suggest maybe Mathera Industries, the industrial section.
Yes, personally, I'd like to figure out where this supply of this is coming from. I believe this may be the key to more than meets, well.
Do you want to investigate the opium?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That sounds good. Give it the old investigate.
Well, I'm going to use position because I am. I'm going to use my doctor's kit because it's always within arm's reach, and it's full of divine healing items, so I can use those to help me figure out what's going on. And that's an investigate.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, 13, power of 3, straight answers or solid leads. What are your questions?
For starters, is this a natural production, or is it naturally this way, or has it been, as we would know it, supernaturally enhanced?
Tampered.
There's definitely a rift that has created this in some way. Like a rift has influenced this in some way.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh,
whoa.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Where did everybody go?
I don't know. Everybody disappeared for me too.
Yeah.
Who left? You lose your
Yeah,
cameras?
you're
on
all
that?
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you're
was
all back.
weird.
I saw
I'm
Cat
gonna
disappear.
reconnect. I
That
still
was-
don't see people. There we go.
I don't know what any of my friends look like.
There we go.
Oh, I'm still here.
All right, 2 more questions, and if you want to offer it out to the table to get help, that's completely fine.
Yeah. Anybody else got a question they would like to ask about the purple opium?
So it's. I'm sorry. Is it magically altered? Is that what? the
Yeah.
first-
Yes.
A rift
a
has
rift.
had some kind of influence on it, yes.
Hmm.
Hmm. I would ask if we could track the rift, but we don't have a way of doing that. So. What we do? I don't know. I can't think of anything important.
I don't know.
Well, I was. I'm gonna ask. Because it's rift affected? Is it just? Is contact enough to bring on the effects?
It does need to be consumed,
Okay.
and as you kind of look into that to get the understanding of why it needs to be consumed, you're able to see a bit of what it's made from.
Okay.
It has a large source of blood, of ocular ingredients, and metal shavings.
Do you have any more questions left, or will we use them?
He
all?
has
We
one
still
more.
have one more. So if
About
you
the
had something-
addictive qualities, maybe ask if there's any way to combat the addictive qualities, if you can sort of suss that out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Is there would there be a treatment for the addiction, or is this like a one-way ticket? Like you either have this stuff or you.
So you could tell with the addictive quality that within 3 or 4 uses, that person is going to be pretty hooked, almost impossible to be addicted, because it's going to kill that part of their mind that actually has like understanding of what they're doing is bad. It is now just like
Ooh.
breathing that they have to do it.
And there's no way back once that happens.
At
At
I
least none
think
that
in
I can
order
suss
to
out.
not from this, you'd probably have to find
Yeah.
someone that's at that stage, and
I would
check
have
with
to. I
them.
would have to. Yeah, I'd have to figure that out.
Cold turkey 'em.
Okay.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
Tim's,
I can.
Tim's
I
already
can.
got one hit under his belt.
We don't know that.
Mine wasn't an actual hit though. Mine was a side effect of using my probe on the
yeah,
addict.
his was a different one. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't a full size dose. We'll just say it was contact through mystical means.
Yeah. Which is part of why it weirded me out so much. I'm like, wait, this isn't supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is a highly addictive substance. I do believe that we should perhaps. Oh, do we know what Mather Industries? Do we know what they do?
We know nothing about them yet. We have yet to actually investigate them.
Well, those of you with a softer constitution, the dark purple opium, well, it's been altered. It's not just regular opium, as you may have been able to tell. It has been worked on and over by someone of, well, our variety. And They've added a number of interesting ingredients to it to increase its potency. Let's put it this way, the least of which is metal shavings.
Dominic's standing there and he's like, wait. Tell me they grew a plant in metal? What? I'm confused.
Yes, don't worry about it, boy.
Science.
Yes. Anyways,
What's that?
here, go to this address and wait there for further instructions.
Okay. He takes the card. You can tell he still has that kind of like fight the power, heads out. As he heads out and the door closes, Frederic walks over to the table with a sheet. It kind of looks like a book of all registered kind of industrial companies, and he goes down. He's Mathera Industries. Yeah, it looks like they've been around for a long time. I guess they're a rail making factory out kind of near the river in the industrial district, kind of south end.
Do I know anything about them? Have they been around for a while?
Yeah, I mean, it's the industrial district has a lot of factories that are like that have just been in the city for a long time. It doesn't stand out other than the fact of what they do. The whole district is just like one large machine where factories make one part only to get it sent to another to create more and more and more. So this is only really one part of a gear.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind that the city, nothing really comes in or goes out, so it's just basically the parts kind of get moved around.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely people that come in here and leave, but it's more those that are born and live in the city don't ever want to leave because they don't care about anything. There is no exterior world. So like the outsiders that come in, like the visitors and the people in the downtown, they're just going to be weird outsiders that talk about these oceans that you don't know what an ocean is, and they're going to be the crazy people that you just don't quite understand, the foreigners.
The world is ending. Repent.
You said this plant was magically modified, or modified with some sort of supernatural means, yes?
Yes. Metal shavings, blood, eyeballs.
I see. There may be a certain disruption with the powers that be in the area. Perhaps we should use our own skill sets to investigate that particular aspect, perhaps?
Well, if
I'm
you
not
have
sure
a
what
way
you
of
could do.
if you have a way of looking at things, I unfortunately I'm very good at close examinations. I don't observe from a distance very
You're
well.
more of the body, it seems. Well, I am of a more spiritual nature. Perhaps I can try something myself.
Sounds like
excellent.
fun to me. Investigate for me, please, good sir.
I'll be right back again.
So what I was going to do is I'm actually going to take out the cards again, and I was going to plead with Papa Legba to see if I could get any information from the spirits about any changes with the magical nature.
Okay. You might get a very interesting answer then.
Come on, Papa Legba. Okay, so
This shit is crazy strong.
So we are control the dice. We're going to do the lowest spirits, and I'm trying to convince him, so I'm going to go with charming. And it is investigate, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, as you begin to look over your cards, you expect to see Papa Legba, but instead, your vision almost peers through an office. And instead of Papa Legba, you see an older woman. She has long, dark gray braids kind of down her hair. She's looking down and she's organizing some papers. And you look up on the wall and you see the logo for the order behind her. Your vision then fades back, and other spirits begin to appear and begin to speak to you. It seems that, for whatever reason, that particular spirit was not able to be reached.
Okay. So we still get.
You still get to
clues
ask the spirits a
ask.
question, but yeah,
Could I flavor this that I'm allowing the spirits to possess me so that like we could all sort of ask the questions?
yeah. Yep, that's fine.
Okay. So yeah, my eyes would sort of gloss over white as other spirits come into me, and if we have any questions, if anyone else maybe has any questions about the magical changings or natures.
I'm back. What
Okay.
what did I miss? Sorry, my stomach's.
So
giving me
Calvin has just kind of allowed the Lua spirits to enter him. His eyes have kind of rolled back behind him, and he's kind of speaking under his tongue, not making clear words, but it seems he's ready to speak in 30 different voices to provide answers to the table. So what questions do you all have that might be answered by the spirit world regarding this opium?
Does anybody have any important questions?
I do, actually.
Okay, good.
Is the meat bits, the blood and the ocular, is it human?
So Calvin, in your mind, you begin to be sucked into the earth and then drag through it for a fairly long time, going just through brown and darkness. You can feel the cool moisture of the wet dirt kind of roaming past your skin. You come up above the ground and you're standing in a smoke-filled metal kind of room. You can see hallways twisting and turning in so many different ways, bits of metal just shoved together. In front of you lay 13 bodies. In each eye socket of each body are a long green stem with a purple flower growing above it.
Oh.
Oh no.
Okay. So I guess my voice would sort of reply with, "From the people, it does grow."
I was afraid of that.
What a. I don't want to waste a question. But what about the children? All the missing children? They wouldn't happen to be part of this, would they? Well, I don't.
I mean, we can look into that. The bodies I saw were like full-grown people, right?
Is that another question you want to ask?
That's why I don't want to waste a question
Hey,
on that.
I would say
But-
because you see the bodies, no. The youngest person you see is probably about 20 years old. None of them look very well-to-do. They all look pretty disheveled. Their bodies vary. From the left, it's near full decay. Towards the right, it seems probably died within the week.
I didn't
And
want it
it's
to be
between 19 and like 80 years old.
If you still want to ask about the kids, I mean, go for it. We've got 3 questions. I mean, it's no waste. It's information.
But
There's no wrong questions.
yeah, I don't know if the kids tie into this or not.
There's
Who knows? We won't know till you ask.
Well, then fine. The paper mentioned missing kids. Is there
Mhm.
any way? Do we know? Can we find those kids?
So specifically, we're trying to narrow down. I think if the kids have anything to do with this, with the disturbance of creating the plant.
Yeah, I'm just terrible at questions. Is why I don't want to.
The your vision changes again, and it begins to approach one of the bodies towards the middle, probably about a 35-year-old man, long dark black beard, but the mouth is kind of again almost faded white, and his skin just looks very, very pale, like he hasn't been in the sun for a while. What's strange though is that he's wearing the outfit of a dock worker, which they are all fairly tanned individuals. But you end up kind of seeing through his pockets, in which it shows a family picture where he has 6 children but it seems like that's the only link the spirits are finding here, is that some of these people probably have kids or are a child of someone.
Okay. So I guess I'd reply with something like, not directly, but related.
Alrighty. Anybody else have any questions? We could probably ask maybe where it's at, or if Hans is there directly, or I don't know.
Well, Hans might not be directly, but yeah, I think maybe a focus of where these magical disturbances are taking place. Maybe, yeah. I'm going to ask that myself. Is where to try and focus in where this center point of these magical or supernatural disturbances are taking place.
Your vision raises up and begins to wander these hallways, twisting and turning left and right, up and down. The walls are all made of stretched metal, old rusted metal. The whole area is filled with smoke. It feels like a maze, an indecipherable area. As you round a corner, you hear a bellow come from the edge. Your vision turns, charging straight at you. You see something. It looks like a man with the head of the bull. With that, your vision gets blasted out of that location, almost like he was able to hit the spirits and snap you out of this location. You go up and above, and you see a large brick building with 2 plume smacks rising up out of it. But you weren't blasted out of that building. You were blasted out of a side little shack. Standing in front of the shack, you see another individual that looks very similar to the 2 that you had knocked down on a horse. And as your vision pulls back even further, you can see the name on the front of the building, Mather Industries. And with that, the screen goes black, and we will see what you all do in next week's session.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Yay.
So it seems like you guys definitely have a location beyond Mather Industries to head off to next week. So thank you guys all for playing. This will be up on YouTube shortly. So if anyone that happens to be watching this might be at all interested in joining our monster hunters on their random investigations, we are definitely always looking for new players to come and play with us. And also for Crits and Die, we have many other games that will be going and ongoing. We're trying to build our community here. So I will have a link to our Discord down in the thingamajig down below, in which, if you are interested, feel free to hop in there. I'm MrJPStilts. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Feel free to reach out to any of these other folks. We have Spoon, Phazon, Qedhup, and Shadowhawk. They are all great people to answer questions as well. We would, again, love to run more games, get more things on this channel, just tell more stories. But that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for playing tonight, and we will all see each other next week. Goodbye.